From the heart of Maine, this is the DuView Podcast.
All right, and welcome to this week's episode of the DuView Podcast. As always, I am your host, Du, a.k.a. Ryan Dumont, and we're back. The wait is over, folks. All new episodes are back, and we'll be back in full swing here. I'm excited to be back, and more importantly, excited to be back with my first guest of 2022, Nick Dumont.
Hey.
Nick, welcome on, buddy.
Thanks, man.
Happy to have you here, and so... For those of you that don't know or didn't listen to episode 16, the last episode before I went on a little break here, I recently as of October 2021, mentioned that I started a new career and, working as an electrician now, slowly but surely learning the ropes. And I'm learning the ropes under, as I said, my guest today, Mr. Nick Dumont. He is a master electrician and owner-operator of Nicholas Electric Company out of Winslow, Maine. So just to, kick it off, Nick, where are you located? Where do you call home?
I live in Winslow, Maine, and I've been there for about 8 years now. When I came back from the Marine Corps of training for a year, I ended up buying a place in Winslow, a duplex apartment building, and I've been there ever since, and that's my home.
Excellent. What do you like about living in Maine specifically? I know that you've, called Maine home for the majority of your life, and, like I have, and so what is it about Maine that just does it for you?
Well, I've been here for 32 years, and I love that it's quiet, it's familiar, and great people. I love the small community feel. Anywhere I go, I know most people wherever I go in my town, and even in the community, Kennebec County area, I know a lot of people, and I just love that small town feel. And
No, most definitely.
yeah, so
Yeah, I gotta love it too. I say that's a lot of my reasoning for staying in Maine and wanting to be here is like the familiarity of it, and also the local aspect. Being able between the two of us now, when we go to work, it's odd that we don't run into somebody that we know, right?
yeah, for real. Yep.
So you mentioned that the local feeling is that. What else do you like about living in your area? What is it specifically about the Winslow Waterville area? You seem pretty proud of it. To be a resident there,
Mm-hmm.
and so I being from Augusta, that's kind of like our city up the river, so to speak, like a sister city up the river. So it's different.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I was born and raised in Vassalboro,
Mhm.
which was right in between Winslow, Waterville, and Augusta.
Right.
So we often, went to Augusta or Winslow and Waterville to do a lot of our, business and shopping and errands, and a lot. That's where a lot of our community was. And it wasn't until I actually moved to Winslow and made my home there that I started to kind of, adopt it as, Winslow's my town, Winslow, Waterville. I kind of look at Winslow as an extension of Waterville, and, and I definitely like the small town feel. I see a lot of the potential, things that I like to see in the community as it grows. And,
Right.
And when I started my business, I was just like, becoming a business owner in Winslow and Waterville. You realize how you get that small town feel, and you get to work with all these other local businesses, and they start to get to know you, and how you kind of all work together,
Mhm.
as a community.
Yeah, and so speaking of your community, Winslow, would you describe that area as pretty business friendly as a business owner for the most part?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I know a lot of the local people, a lot of the local businesses, and they're great.
Mhm.
We have a great community of businesses, and I love supporting them, and other people should be out there supporting as well.
Yeah,
So,
keep it local. I'm a big proponent of shopping local. While a lot of the time I do kind of I guess show favoritism to local businesses in Augusta. Obviously,
Yeah.
I'm a little biased naturally
Yeah,
speaking,
no,
but
absolutely.
I mean I love that some mornings that like you like for example going out to breakfast in the morning, you can make a choice, right?
Mm.
You can go through the drive-through at McDonald's and get a breakfast sandwich,
Yep.
or you can take the extra time and maybe a little bit extra money
Yep.
and go down to that local place and buy
Yep.
a breakfast sandwich from, for example, Waterville the Holy Cannoli,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
whatever,
Or
insert
Sunrise Bagel.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Insert name of local restaurant or local
Exactly.
establishment here. it's kind of us doing our part in a lot of ways too, to, kind of give back. As you said, like maybe somebody hires, business hires, Nicholas Electric, because they see you as, a regular customer somewhere or whatever. I'm sure that
Exactly.
type of stuff happens,
For certain. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And so, when did you decide to go into business for yourself?
Well, I just hit the 4-year mark for being in business. It was the first week of January, actually, that we start. So we started right at the beginning of 2018. And I've always had a desire to have my own business. When I graduated, high school, I knew that I was going to have a business of some kind. I just didn't know what. I really enjoyed lawn care and landscaping at the time, so I thought maybe that was where I was going to head. But then what spurred me into going into the electrical field was a friend of mine was a manager at CMP in Augusta, and he said, "Hey, you should come along, and I'll give you a tour of the place, see what you think." And so we did, and he said, "Hey, if you just go to a community college and get your 2-year degree," he's like, "I can hire you here at a really good salary and benefits." And so for me at 18, that was like, wow,
Right.
that sounds amazing,
Right. Yeah.
as an 18-year-old, wanting to like start a career, have a family,
Yeah,
settle
yeah.
down in Maine, because I knew this is where I wanted to be. And
Yep.
so I started in that direction. I started going to school for electrical at Kennebec Valley Community College, and that went really well. I graduated, and then I started working in the electrical field.
Yep. Yeah.
Yep.
KVCC is a great resource. I mean, not just that specific. A lot of the community college in the state are awesome, but
Oh, yeah.
I mean, specifically though, you look at a lot of the trades folks that are from this area, or even in different areas around the state, close enough to Kennebec County. A lot of folks go through there.
Yeah.
Or have
Oh, yeah.
their degree from
Yeah.
there.
People go and continue education there.
Yeah.
They might already have a degree, and then they
Right.
just go back maybe 3 or 4 or 5 years later to continue something else. And
Yeah, I
get
mean,
another,
I've always kept the idea open, especially now starting in the electrical field, learning a little bit more, or, even something else. They offer plenty of other, because I overlapped a lot of bit, when I was in school for political science with communications. And so, maybe actually going back and actually, just using that as an example, but
Sure.
that's an awesome opportunity, awesome resource for our area.
and affordable.
Yes,
too.
yes.
That's
Yep.
that's the other one that's awesome. You can go in there, and a lot of times you can get grants. I mean, I got a lot of government grants. When I went, and I mean, I came out with like maybe 8,000 in debt.
That's awesome.
And I had my electrical degree, my associate's degree in electrical
Yeah.
technology. So I mean, that's not really something hard to handle.
No, I mean, in comparison to me going to a 4-year, program and having a number we don't want to talk about.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that being
Yeah.
said, it's a great resource, and probably a proud alumni. KVCC. That's excellent.
sure.
That's excellent. So, what prompted your decision after going to school? I mean, obviously you have to work for somebody when you get out. You can't just, really, go into business for yourself. So what kind of
Yeah.
what kind of filled in the gap in between you starting NEC and that time, I guess your time in the trenches, so to speak.
Yeah. So I did a lot of hopping around for a little bit. I didn't necessarily go right into the electrical field. I worked for a company during the summer when I graduated, Wunderlich Malek in Winslow, and we built substations.
Yep.
So I was wiring control houses, and it was more of an industrial field. So I worked there for the summer, and it was a paid job, but I also looked at it as like an internship to get my experience. I thought this is the getting my foot in the door.
Right.
And it was kind of my start. And then I decided that I wanted to continue education, and I went up to University of Maine and did a year up there, University of Maine Orono. And then when I came out of there, I ended up deciding to join the Marine Corps.
Yep.
So when I say I did a whole bunch of little hopping around, that's part of it. So
That's quite a bit of hopping around.
yeah, quite a bit of hopping around, still trying to kind of figure some things out. So I joined the Marine Corps, and I went into the reserves specifically because I knew that I wanted to have a career,
outside of
outside
the
of the military.
Yeah.
So that's why I chose the reserves.
Yep.
So I had another year up at Orono after Kennebec Valley Community College, and then I had a year of being in the Marine Corps during my training.
Yep.
So that was 2 years after graduating KVCC that I spent doing other extracurricular activities, I guess you could say.
Yeah. Yep. Right.
And then when I came back, I worked for a window restoration company for about 7 months before I finally went back to working in the electrical field. I went back to that original company, Wadillick Malik, and
Yep.
I worked there for about 2 years. And then from there, I went on to work for a residential company in Vassalboro and worked there for about 2.5 years.
Yep. Yep.
And then I got my limited residential license, and from there I was able to start my own company, and then built upon that. And then after a couple more years, I got my master's,
Mhm.
and here we are.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
that's definitely definitely makes for an interesting time, and
Yeah.
I'm sure it's been an experience, for sure. And I mean,
Yeah.
probably not all easy by any means, right? I mean, life is never just a cakewalk.
Yeah.
We have struggles and challenges and
Yep.
whatever else. So, speaking of challenges, what has been the hardest part about going into business for yourself? I mean, versus just being an employee of someone's, because you're the boss.
Yeah. Yeah, it was absolutely everything that was difficult was I had no business background,
Right.
everything I had to do, I had to learn the
Mhm.
hard way. I had to do my own studying. I had to make my own mistakes. And then I had to crawl out of those, mistakes, work out of it. So that's probably been the hardest part is just building the business, learning the financials,
Right.
learning how to, make money as a business, and then continue to refine my skills and my knowledge, as an electrician, and just building a new business altogether.
Right.
You take something that's nothing and you turn it into something that's, it's
Some-
it's like a baby, really.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It literally. I mean, you're a young father too.
Yeah,
You got
exactly.
2 young kids, and so
I
I
was,
mean,
I
yeah.
was newly married. I
Yeah.
literally was just married like 5 months prior to me starting the business.
Yep. Shout
I
out to
found
Sarah,
out-
real quick.
Yep, yep. I had just found out I was pregnant for our first kid
Yep.
when I started my business.
Yep.
So it was, yeah.
Yeah, I'm
crazy.
sure that must have been a lot, but
Yeah.
you're all the better for it, and you're here now. And
Oh, yeah.
4 years
4
later,
years.
that's
Yeah.
crazy. I mean, next year that's 5-year anniversary. That's big.
Yeah.
That's big for
Yeah.
any business, regardless of in the trades or in the public sector, private sector. I mean, that's awesome.
Hmm.
That's something to definitely be proud of, and obviously, I'm a part of that now.
Yeah.
Being
Right.
an employee, which is awesome in a lot of ways. To be with you on this journey as you're continuing to build the business.
Yeah.
And that being said, what's the best part about being the boss, being boss man?
Well, I mean, one of the things that I wanted one of the reasons for starting a business was I wanted to have employees and I wanted to have a work environment that was positive, where there was camaraderie and people could come and make a living and enjoy what they do and enjoy their time at work.
Right.
And that was a huge motivator. Just because, I had worked at, a place where that wasn't the case, the morale was not good. People didn't get along. Nobody cared about you. You felt like you were a number. And
Right.
that was something that I was like, you know what? I'm going to create something one day that's, not like that, where there's camaraderie, where everybody gets along, everybody's got each other's back, and there's a camaraderie and friends.
Yeah. Not
amongst
only are you
fellow
coworkers,
boys.
but you're also
Yeah.
kind of buddies
Yeah.
at the end of the day too. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's a
So-
unique working environment, because not a
Mhm.
lot. I don't think a lot of people can actually say that they really enjoy their coworkers, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
it's kind of like they say you can pick your friends, but you can't pick your family. It kind of
Yeah.
is a weird backwards
Exactly.
extension of that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yep.
saying?
Absolutely.
You can pick where you work, but you can't pick who you work with.
Exactly. Yeah.
If you're an employee, you
Yep.
really can. And so that's,
Yeah.
I guess, refreshing to hear somebody who's a boss say,
Mhm.
we want a good, I mean, it's one thing to just have a business, but it's another thing to have a good set of coworkers and employees, and just have good camaraderie.
Yeah.
I mean, that takes
Yep.
time and effort
Yep.
on everybody who
Oh,
works there.
Yeah. I mean, you got to create that environment. You
Yeah.
know?
It
Um,
falls on directly onto your shoulders, so to speak,
Exactly. And I feel like, I treat my business not as just something that, pays my bills, but it's, something I enjoy, and I
Mhm.
pour everything into it. You
Yeah.
know? I pour my time, I pour my money, I pour, a lot of my emotion into it. You know?
And I mean,
it
anybody
gets a
that
lot.
knows you or has done business with you can definitely tell that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm maybe, too close to the issue to say that in some ways, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I'm a little, like, again, biased, but the
Yeah.
fact of the matter being, I mean, we hear that from people we do business with to,
Yeah.
other people that just know you, they know
Right.
that you put 125, 126% maybe
Yeah.
even into,
Yeah.
what you're doing.
Yeah. And I care about everybody, I
Yeah.
care about keeping everybody happy, and that's my priority,
Right, and that's not
So,
always easy by
no.
any means. It's
No.
it's
No.
keeping people happy, regardless if they're employees, family members, or whatever,
Or
friends,
customers,
It's customers. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, it's definitely a balancing act.
Yeah.
For
For
sure,
sure.
for sure. So did you always, I know you mentioned that you did a lot of different things, but what decisions kind of was it that tour at CMP that really set you on the electrical track, or what was it that really, was like, electrical's kind of my jam?
Yeah. Yeah. No, it was definitely just that perfect moment where that friend of mine said, "Hey, why don't you come check this out?" And so
Yeah.
I was just young and wet behind the ears, and had just at that point just a desire to make a good living and have a family and settle down. So that was kind of like the forefront of my mind.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
that was
yeah.
my
So
motivation.
it kind of matched
Yeah.
your life plan.
Yeah,
Like what?
yeah.
Like
Like
this is my ideal goal or my goals,
and
so to
maybe
speak.
just like money,
Yeah.
and success was
Right.
kind of a motivation in that moment, well-being, and
Yeah.
and so when I went on that tour, the intent was I'm gonna go work at CMP.
Right.
That was the goal. That was what was right there, and I'm like, so I started the process, and I started going to school at KVCC, and then over those 2 years of school, I started to grow into myself a little bit more of like, okay, what do I want? Maybe I want to do something different. I'm enjoying what I'm learning, and maybe I want to pursue something else. And
Right.
and that was hence why I ended up going up to University of Maine Orono, because I thought maybe I want to pursue engineering.
Right.
So that's kind of what sparked that decision, and then of course the Marine Corps thing was just motivated by I grew up with my younger brother, who we spent a lot of time doing military things.
Yeah.
And I was in the Young Marine program
Yep.
as a young kid.
I remember that. Yep.
Yeah,
When we were growing
and,
up.
So my brother was like, "Let's do this together," and so I said, "Okay." And
Yeah.
so we didn't do it together, but we were about 3 months apart.
I was gonna
So
say, you guys. I remember you both more or less going to basic at
Mhm.
pretty close.
within
the
6
same
months,
time,
within
yeah.
6 months of each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, he went in February of 2012, and I went in September of 2012.
Yep. Yep. I
Um,
remember because we had a little. I think we had a little send off
Yep.
party for him at your mom's
Yeah.
restaurant.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. Yep. So, and that was that's kind of what sent me that way, and I guess you could say that maybe I didn't know 100% if I was still going to be in the electrical field, other than when I came back out of my training in the Marine Corps, I was I had started working at a window company because it was like a simple job that I could get right into. My dad
Mhm.
was the foreman of the company. He said, "Hey, I got a job for you if you want, right out of your training.
Yeah.
That way you don't have to sit around trying to look for jobs." So I said, "Yeah, sure. That's an easy thing to just slide into and getting home and start making some money." And after 5 or 6 months, I was like, you know what? Like I really need to get back into the electrical field. I just
Yeah.
need to start pursuing that. I don't want to make my education go to waste. And I didn't want to be that person, that number.
Right.
And so, you go to school for something, you don't really get into it, and
I
use it.
can relate to that in part. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
get you. Yeah.
So there was that. Like, I don't want to put that to waste. So
Yeah.
that was what kind of put me back on the track of get back in the electrical field, start pursuing that. And I did, and and I liked it, and I started loving it and embracing it more. I enjoyed the trade, and after working for the one company that was one of the reasons why I wanted to start a company, it was just negative experience, and I said, I'm gonna have my own company one day.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Yep.
And
So-
it's interesting too that how much of our previous work experience can shape who
Mhm.
we are today, good, bad, or indifferent. I mean, I know, given I've been on the earth a couple years less than you, but the fact of the matter being is that if you have a good job, it really gets you jazzed up about that field, that that subject, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
And on the flip side, if you have a rotten, miserable experience, you might never ever want to do it again.
Yeah.
And so
for sure.
I think that again, as our experiences form us in
Yeah.
a lot of ways. And I mean, that being said, for you, it really kind of puts you on their track to, if when I have my own show, I'm in somebody else's show right now, but when I run my own show, we're going to run things a little differently.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And
absolutely.
that's excellent. And so, day to day with Nicholas Electric NEC, what type of services, electrical services, I mean, I know this, obviously I'm an employee of the
Mhm.
company, but for
Yeah.
the sake of
Yeah.
interviewship,
Yeah.
what type of services does the company offer?
Yeah. So we're a full residential and commercial company. So we do all residential wiring of any kind. We do rewires. We do new construction, new builds. We do um, generator installs, standby generators, portable generator hookups. We're going to be getting into heat pumps soon.
Yep.
Full heat pump installs, mini splits. Um, and then full commercial.
Yeah.
Any kind of bigger commercial work, we're getting into all of it. We're looking to continue to grow and expand out in that direction.
Yep, in that field. Yep.
Yeah. And we want to, grow with other contractors and do a lot more.
Yep.
A lot more new builds as well.
Yep.
So
Yeah, I mean, I know
yeah.
that, just in my short time working for you, we've done anything from, replacing old knob and tube,
Yep.
From 19 whenever,
Yeah,
1900,
right, 1900, yeah.
19 whatever. Some of these places, you're like, thank God we went through and did that because,
Yeah.
oh boy.
Yeah, and what a difference, what a
Yeah.
change it is. It's
Oh, yeah.
cool to see, old going to new and
Yep.
seeing the finished product. That's one of the best parts of what we do.
Yeah, and I
So you get
mean,
to see
we
that.
do a lot of unique stuff too. I
Yeah.
mean, we did a Tesla charger, like
Yep.
in-home Tesla charger for someone to
Yep.
plug their car in at home.
Yep.
Anything from we did light replacement like an American Eagle.
Mhm. Yep.
Really cool, unique stuff to go into places too. Just from my perspective,
Oh yeah.
as an employee or as a and someone who's new to the field. It's just cool to see a lot, and that's what I had liked about when I worked in the political field. It wasn't every day was different. In the
Sure.
electrical field, it's the same way. I mean, I mean, you can spend a couple days, roughing in a house or doing a rewire or whatever, and you're in the same spot. But a lot of the time, we're not in the same place.
No.
We're all
No.
over the place.
Oh yeah, we're bouncing everywhere. Yeah,
You
I mean
know?
our territory is, obviously within an hour of Winslow, Maine. And I mean, we're in Belgrade, we're in Clinton, Benton, Pittston, Farmingdale,
Skowhegan.
Skowhegan.
Even into Somerset
yeah.
County a little
Oh,
bit.
yeah.
We've even
Yeah.
gone down to Lewiston, Auburn area before.
Yeah, Lewiston, Auburn. I mean, and if it's a large enough job, we'll go out,
Yeah.
a little after past an hour, drive,
Little out of our
yeah, I mean, if it's a big enough job, if it's 2-day or a really long full day with the crew, I mean, yeah, we'll go and take a job on like that. But the nice thing is, we're able to keep it close to home most of the time.
Yeah.
Most of the time we're right close to home, and we don't have much more than a 15 to 20-minute drive to most of our jobs, which is very nice.
Yeah.
So,
Almost definitely. I
Yeah.
mean, like I said, there's, really kind of trying to own your own home turf and,
Yep.
Slowly expanding to a point where, things are comfortable, and
Yeah.
manageable, right? But that being said, what sets, your company, NEC, apart from other electrical outfits in the area?
well, one of the things that we are striving to do is just, is have some of the best customer service, best quality work, and just being efficient. you
Yeah.
know,
Yep.
and affordable as well. I
Mhm.
mean, I think, it's safe to say that we're probably one of the more affordable companies. We're very reasonably priced, and
Mhm.
and that doesn't, come with cheaping out by any means.
No,
We do
you still get a high quality
we
of
do a
work.
great quality job at the end of the day, and we want our customers to love what we just did.
Right.
And make sure that everything's being done by code, and that we're not cutting corners.
Right.
So that you can, rest assured that when we come out of your house, it's the best.
Right. And you don't have to worry about anything catching on fire.
Yeah.
It's safe. It's
Yep.
done to code. It's
Yep.
done to as strict of standards as are put out.
Yeah. And then you could expect a follow up. If
Yep.
if something comes up and you need to call us back, I mean, we're readily available. We have Nate ready to answer the phone, and that's probably the other advantage we have over a lot of companies right now is we have someone that's going to answer the phone.
Yeah. Right. You
almost
call.
almost
Yep.
24/7.
Yeah.
whether it's, Monday through Sunday. I mean, he's available and he's answering that phone and he gets you put on the schedule and he gives you a realistic idea of when we can get to you.
Yeah.
So that's probably what sets us apart the most.
Yeah, most definitely. And I think that, I mean, as we know, I mean, working in this field, there's such a shortage
Yep.
of, I mean, it's all the trades have shortage of, well, good working licensed guys.
Yeah.
And that's, I think that there's a lot, a big field opening for, young folks that want to, get into the trades and whatever else. But also, it creates, a interesting, like we go into the supply store, you talk with, people we know that work at Home Depot or whatever. And, there's such a shortage of electricians. People are trying to like do stuff in home themselves.
Oh, yeah.
That's so dangerous.
Oh, yeah. No,
I mean, like
not,
it's
not
one thing
idea.
to it's one thing to change a light bulb or an outlet or something.
Yeah.
But it's another thing to go, oh, I'm just gonna go poke around my my panel.
Right.
No, don't do that.
No.
Don't, please.
No, just be patient.
Yeah, we're coming. I promise.
Right. Yeah.
Make a phone call.
And I mean, I mean, more people need to get into the trades. That's definitely needs to happen.
Right.
There's definitely a shortage, but but then we're also in a very big building spike right now. There's a big boom. I mean, that's just
in part due to COVID, and in part just due to the need to build.
Yeah.
We need more houses for people. It's a fact.
Yep.
Yep.
I mean, I think that the economy is like trying to build back up, and businesses are growing and they're wanting to expand. They're building more real estate. They're bringing on trying to bring on more employees.
Right.
And all of those things. So, you're seeing these companies build more facilities and expand out and branch out. And, and we're kind of in the same place. We're looking to grow and continue to build and go with the economy and as well. So
yeah, most definitely. And, speaking of going forward, what do you look forward to most of the future of your business? Like what's like, kind of like looking out, if you're sitting, you pretend you're sitting on top of a hill, you can see the horizon for miles and miles, but you see that one thing and you're like, I hope when we get closer, that thing's as beautiful as it is from here. It gets you excited. It creates, most like hope or excitement.
Yeah.
So what's that thing that you're looking for? Or looking forward to?
I guess I would say just a healthy company.
Yep.
With a great reputation, and a company that's self-sustaining.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I would say that would be it. A company that's growing and healthy and continues to thrive in the community, and just keeps going.
Yeah.
And continuing to keep the same, build the same principles that we're starting now is having good camaraderie, having like a family type business.
Yeah.
I mean, the employees are like family to me here.
Well, some of us technically are.
And so Right, two of them are.
Yeah,
two of them share the same last name.
We roll deep, Dumont.
Yeah.
Well, I will say though, touching on the family aspect for a minute, it has been awesome just not only to work for somebody with, your certain values, but also from the family perspective. I mean, you're my cousin.
Yeah.
It's been awesome. I mean, in terms of like, as I've talked about before, cousins I've been close with on the Dumont side, you got you and, your siblings are, the ones I'm majority close with. And it's nice to, spend time with you every day at work, spend a little bit more time with Nate and Mike and eventually, Emily.
Yeah.
It's been great to, spend more time and reconnect, now that you have, I mean, stopped over at your house today. Your daughter came right over and gave me a big old hug. That warmed my heart. My heart of stone, cracked a little bit. It's like, oh, you're cute.
Yeah.
Darn.
No, my kids are your family, man.
Yeah, I know. Mean, it's just, it's awesome. It's just, you forget about stuff like that.
Well, that's what's the most important,
Yeah.
And I think that's one more thing to touch on with my company is that, like, because I look at everybody and try to make everybody be a part of my family.
Yeah.
You guys all have, different responsibilities, but there's a few of the guys that have like families, and
young families.
That's super important to me, like families first.
Yep.
It's key, and we try to be flexible with that. If something comes up, and when somebody needs to run and go get a kid or whatever, or be there for their family, I mean, that's first,
Yeah.
I mean, we could have a million things going on. We could be right out straight like we always are, but we could have tons going on, and I'd be like, you know what? Family comes first.
If you need to stop and go pick up your kid, go pick up your kid. Yeah.
We'll figure it out.
Yep.
So.
Like I said, everything is a balancing act. And I
Mhm.
mean, the fact of the matter is, how do you choose to balance things,
Mm.
right? Do you
Yeah.
choose to be stressed and angry and upset all the time, or do you
Right.
try to, create things in a better light,
Mhm. Yeah.
i.e., family
Yeah.
ties, or whatever
Yeah.
that aspect is that you want to run with, so to speak. Like
Yeah.
that's an important thing. Camaraderie and unity, I
Yeah.
guess, in a lot of ways, because I feel that, regardless if you're speaking politically or just societally, we don't have a lot of that right
Mhm.
now, and it's
Yeah.
good to, come into a group of people, come into a, a spot with a group of people that get along, have the same
Yeah.
goals,
Yeah.
I mean, it's to do good work and get the work done,
Yeah.
and, you know,
Right. And with that being said, like when you have that unity and people
hmm
are getting along and there's a good atmosphere, like good work gets done,
and it's fun
and
doing
it's
it.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the guys coming in, you come across, any one of our guys that goes into a home, a customer will be happy to meet them, because they're coming in, they're happy, they're in a good mood, they're happy to be there, and the customer's gonna have a great experience with
Oh,
our
yeah.
with our employees, our guys,
Yeah.
Um,
I mean,
so
speaking, for myself and the other guys, we're all pretty friendly, down to earth.
yeah, yeah,
Normal, upright
Yep.
guys, for the most part, and
Yep.
it's an awesome, like I said, it's an awesome atmosphere,
yeah,
to work in. Like I
Yep.
said, it, all the guys, quick shout out to
Yeah.
Tommy and
Yeah.
Roger and Caleb
Yeah.
and Nate,
And Nate.
awesome
Yep.
guys,
Yep.
great guys to work with, and proud to call you guys my coworkers.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, that being said, though, when you aren't working, the few rare moments you find that you're not, not,
Oh.
doing something business related, what do you like to do in your free time?
Yeah, yeah. Well, this question's a tough one, because I never have anything interesting to say other than I really enjoy spending time with my family. We like to go travel, go on trips to visit friends.
Yeah.
Um, you know, I've never had a lot of time to do outdoorsy things, so I never got into a lot of like going out ATVing or snowmobiling or anything like that.
We'll get
It's
you
all
there.
all stuff I'd really like to do though.
Yeah.
But just I've never owned any of those things myself because I never had time to do them.
Right.
But now that I'm 4 years into business, I mean I'm way farther ahead than I was 4 years ago. I'm a different person.
Yeah.
I've managed to figure out the balance of time
Right.
with family,
Yep.
work, and having that personal free time.
Yeah. And that's the hardest
Um,
thing to find, man.
Exactly. Knowing that, like, what, this can wait. I need to make time to go do stuff for myself, and to take care of myself and go have a little fun every once in a while.
Yeah.
And I guess this is the best time to learn that, when I have a family.
Right.
So, but yeah, I'm thinking, over the next year or so, I want to get into some more stuff.
Yeah.
Like that outdoor stuff, hiking and, but yeah,
Yeah,
but
we'll
ri-
get you-
but
we'll-
as
we'll
but
get
as
you
of
out.
right, yeah, but as of right now, I would say spending time with family, going on trips. We try to take weekend trips down to Cape Cod to visit friends.
Yep.
I motorcycling. I mean, I like to go. I mean,
Yeah,
this past year I went to Gettysburg.
Yeah.
I did
yeah.
a 5-day motorcycle trip to Gettysburg.
That's exciting.
Yeah, no, I mean that was a blast.
It's a cool spot, but also, I mean, like, I plan on, getting my motorcycle license here
Yes.
sooner than later.
Yeah.
I mean, your dad rides, you ride,
Mhm.
your brother
Michael
Mike rides. Yeah, I
Michael
mean,
rides,
like,
yep.
and I think, get
Yep.
that under my belt.
and
have
my
some
and
fun
my
with that.
brother-in-law.
Yeah, oh, yeah,
and
yep,
Emily's husband.
Oh, yep,
So I
yep,
mean,
yep.
everybody in the family rides.
Yeah,
But
well, that's more incentive than
yeah.
I already needed.
Yeah. But yeah, so I guess I mean, I got stuff that I enjoy doing like that.
Yeah.
And but yeah, that's what I would say.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, like I said, it's finding that time is hard. I mean, like
Yep.
I always go back. I mean, my biggest job I worked up until now is that presidential campaign. Man, I know I bring that up a lot, but
Yeah.
it taught me a lot.
Yeah.
Not even just like in the political field, but in terms of just being a person and functioning in society.
Yeah.
It taught me that again. You have to create time for yourself
Mm-hmm.
because if you don't, no one's gonna do it for you,
No. Right.
and no one's looking out for you
Yeah.
other than you. And when
Yeah.
it comes to that type of stuff.
Right.
you know?
And I mean, there's always going to be work to do.
Yeah.
There's
There
always
always
gonna
will be
be
work to do.
And I mean, you gotta understand that it's important to enjoy life a little bit, and or even as much as possible.
Yeah,
You know,
no, most definitely.
every
And so-
chance you get. you
yeah,
know?
no, that's
Um,
exactly it. And it's just
yeah.
prioritizing what's important,
Mm-hmm.
and if it's
Yep.
family,
Yep.
make time for family.
Yeah.
If it's,
Family.
friends, make time
Mhm.
for friends.
Yeah.
And that I think that's, I guess, one of the positives, I guess, of COVID is that people really had time to put their priorities in perspective,
Mm.
and
Yeah.
to say, this is really important, so I'm going to take more time. Like we've seen, record numbers of people taking trips with family, road trips and stuff
Oh,
like
yeah.
that. All that stuff is, exponentially higher than it was in years past. Which I guess, like I said, people taking their kids out ice fishing, taking
Yeah.
their kids out, with stuff that they may not have had time to do.
Yep.
So I guess, again, it's creating that time and that priority for something.
Right.
And that's
Right.
and that's important, and you've identified that. Your family is important to you.
Yep.
Having good camaraderie and having a healthy, productive life is important to you, and those are the things you're going to prioritize, and that's awesome.
Mm.
Yeah. So with that being said, Nick, what what are you looking forward to in 2022 moving forward? Now that you have a pretty good idea of where you're at and what you're doing. Like, what are you thinking for the next year?
Yep. I want to see us grow a little bit more, and maybe add one more van to the fleet.
Yep. Yep.
Maybe bring on someone that's going to do estimating for the company.
Yep.
And just kind of round out the company, so that we have all of our systems covered and kind of grow into more of a small to medium sized company.
Yeah. Yep.
So bring on someone experienced that can do estimating.
Yeah.
Obviously, we have someone that does all the scheduling and takes care of all the customer service items, and also, employee PR, basically taking care of our employees and making sure that their stuff is squared away and anything they need are met.
Yep.
And just doubling what we did last year.
Yeah, most definitely.
That's what
I
we're
mean,
looking to grow.
sounds like you just want to shore up the foundation, make sure all those
Yeah.
blocks are nice and solid
Yeah.
before taking that next,
Exactly.
that next
Yep.
step or onto the next level, so to speak.
Yeah.
And I think that's more respectable than anything because, like we were talking actually even earlier today,
Mm-hmm.
we were, we're at work. If you grow and this is anything, if you grow too quickly,
Yeah.
you can hurt yourself.
Yep.
There's a nice, I like to say, there's a happy medium on a lot of things,
Mm-hmm.
and that includes business too.
Yeah. That's definitely one thing. It's one of the things I've learned in business, along with many things, but this one thing everybody would say, yeah, don't grow too fast, don't grow
Yeah.
too fast. And in my head I'm always just been like, go, 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 go.
Right?
I
Yeah.
want to grow, I want to go fast. And I now can understand, why they say that,
Yeah.
because it does. It can get out of hand, and you can lose your head,
Yeah.
if you grow too fast. You can't handle it all,
Yeah.
And if you don't have all those parts and pieces in place before you take that next step, I mean, you can fall apart.
Oh yeah,
And
it doesn't take. Sometimes it doesn't take much,
No.
depending on how things are, how organized you are. And this is anybody, not just specific to you, buddy,
Yeah.
but anybody who has any type of model.
Mhm.
It's important. Like I said, going into the new year, I'm pretty optimistic, and it's exciting to be on more kind of in a lot of ways getting in on the ground floor. A
Mhm.
couple years into the experiment, but
yeah.
far enough along that it's exciting, and like I said, every day
Yeah.
is a new
Yeah.
challenge and a new adventure.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I would definitely say, 2 years ago, I mean, business was, you were so unsure, right?
Yeah.
And then I can say now, like, 2 years later, I definitely have a lot more peace.
Mm.
I don't have as much stress as I used to.
Yep.
Because when you first start business, you're kind of running around like a chicken with your head cut off.
Yep.
Just trying to make it all work, pay the bills, get by.
Yeah.
And I could say that, after 4 years, we're in a place that is comfortable, and we're able to sustain well.
Yeah.
And now, like we said, just kind of building out a little bit.
Yeah, and I mean I'm sure that's exciting for you,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
as you kind of create a battle plan,
Yeah.
going forward, and it's just you hope to see it come to like similar with starting this podcast.
Yeah.
I hope to see it get to a point that you kind of have in the back of your mind. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? You have this goal, you have
Yeah.
this end place
Yeah.
you'd like to get to. Do you know how to get there? Hell no.
really? Yeah.
Are you going to try to muddle your way through and make the best of the experience and of your time as you can to get while you're on that road to that end goal? Of course you are.
Yeah.
Of course you are.
Yeah.
And that's
the business grows as you grow.
yes.
Yeah. I mean, as you become smarter, as you become more disciplined, a lot of it comes down to discipline.
Yeah.
How much work are you going to put in? You know? And being disciplined and being organized and taking care of things. And so as I build in those areas, anybody builds in those areas, they're going to see like the fruit of their labor.
Yeah.
That's a fact. So
yeah, most definitely. And like I said, you put something into it, you get out what you put in.
Yeah.
And that
Right.
goes without saying. So you also mentioned too your time in the Marine Corps. What was that experience like? And did you end up traveling to any exotic locations or anything like that? What was that? Just kind of describe that experience. We'll talk about that a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was in the Marine Corps Reserves for 7 years, and I drilled out of Ayer, Massachusetts. And so I had to go down there once a month to do my drill. And I did go to Morocco. That was probably the most exotic place I went to, and that was cool. It was a really great experience. It's like right on, it's like Western Africa.
Yeah.
Right on the coast, and we were out there for a month, and it was just training exercises that we were doing out there, setting up a base of operations, and just basically simulating a combat support element. And we had infantry there, and we were supporting them. And my job in the Marine Corps was maintenance. I worked on optics.
Yep.
So anything that had a sight, we replaced or fixed.
So that could be anything from like artillery to
artillery down to an NVG, night vision goggle.
Yep.
A scope on a weapon. So yeah, I mean, we adjusted the sights on 777 howitzers.
Oh wow.
Which, those can hit up targets up to 30 miles away.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, and they go boom.
Yeah.
Big,
I'm
big,
sure.
big boom. Yeah. So I mean, we were responsible for making sure that those sights were accurate and calibrated.
Yep.
Because if they weren't,
you're not going to hit what you're shooting.
You're not
at.
hitting your target.
Yeah.
You could, hit somebody else or friendly fire.
Or civilians.
So it was very crucial. Yeah, civilians.
Insert issue here for not having accurate weapon systems.
Yep. So that was definitely probably one of the most technical things that we did. That was like, you felt like, wow, if we don't do this right, it's kind of a big deal,
I'd say so.
Yeah. But yeah, so that was what my job was there. We went to, I did training in California, 29 Palms. We did training.
That's a hell of a place. I've had a few friends that have been stationed there over the years, and they say, "I'm glad I got out of the Palms." Man.
Oh yeah. No, they call it the Devil's Asshole.
Yeah.
That's the nickname for it. Yeah.
So that's in like the Mojave Desert in California or something like that, or
I don't know if that's the Mojave or not. I know it's like in the mountains.
Okay.
So there was mountains all the way around us.
Yep.
And it was my first time out in California. My first and only time out in California.
Yep.
Not the best experience, because it was like a 7-hour bus ride when we got from the airport to get out to where we were.
Right.
And anybody that's stationed there, to get to anywhere nice, it's like a 2 to 3 hour drive. So, but other than that, there's really nothing out there.
Yeah.
So I spent a month there for training, and then we also did a 2-week AT to Camp Lejeune, another Marine Corps base. And then I did a couple jobs in a couple training exercises in Indiana.
Yep.
So
I definitely got to see some other locations and other stuff like that. I mean, it definitely I'm sure some great life experience out of the whole experience. I know you shared a few stories from from your times, at drill or whatever various instances, and I'm thank you for your service, obviously, buddy. Appreciate it. Regardless of reserves or whatever you're doing, we have men and women who dedicate their lives and time to defending our country, and that's respectable. So thank you.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that being said, though, is there any any stories that stick out that you'd like to share from your time in the Marine Corps?
Oh, so many. Well, let's see. Trying to think. Well, Morocco was probably one of the most memorable times.
Mhm.
We went out there. I went out there with my 2 or 3 other Marines from my unit, and when I was out there, I ended up being tented up with some Marines from 3 other units actually. And that's probably one of the things that is so cool about the Marine Corps is like, or the military in general is like you make bonds, with
Mhm.
people because you're living, sleeping, and eating and training with them every day.
And putting in a large amount of trust. I mean,
Oh,
especially if
yeah.
you're in a combat situation, putting a large amount of trust. I mean, even if
Yep.
you're in a non-combat situation,
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, you're
Yeah.
putting in a
Yeah.
dangerous situation that you need to
You got
trust
to
your
work
buddy.
together.
Yeah,
You got to work
exactly.
together,
Yeah.
because you got a job to do and you got to be able to do it,
Yeah.
and do it effectively and not screw up.
Right.
It's always crucial,
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I had met 3 Marines from 3 other units, and we just bonded. I mean, it was just the coolest thing. One of them was from a unit in Indiana, one was from a unit in North Carolina, and one was from a unit in Alabama, I think,
Mhm.
is where he was from. And I mean, we just bonded. We had a blast like the whole time. I mean, we did everything together, and we still stay in touch today. I mean,
Yep.
we're really close. One of them came to my wedding, but I have to say most of the stories that I have, they're all, well, I guess I would say, I'm trying to think of one experience we had. Oh yeah, I was on the rifle range,
Mhm.
and we were getting the cages ready and set up, and it was early morning. It was still dark out, and I had reached down to unloosen one of the cages, and I had put my head right directly underneath one of the cages, and not realizing that there was a counterweight. I
Oh.
unloosened it, and the cage came down and guillotined me and
No.
smashed my face off of the lower metal cross brace that was on the cage, and literally snapped my tooth,
Oh.
one of my front teeth out. But I hit so hard that I thought that every tooth in my mouth had come out. I mean, it was that hard. And I just remember, like, I was bleeding, and the guys, my other Marines, came over, and they're like, "Oh, are you okay?" And first thing out of my mouth was, "Find my tooth." That was the only thing I was worried about.
Oh my gosh.
And they come running over, and they're all searching around for my tooth. And I mean, at that point, it was just a half a tooth. It wasn't even the full tooth. It was just one front tooth had chipped off. And yeah, no, that was fun. That was
Yeah.
a good time.
I'm sure that's an experience and definitely teaches you, like, similar to when you're doing different things in the electrical field. There are certain places where you shouldn't put your head.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
'Cause you get cracked over
Right.
the head.
Yes.
Or take a wire to the
Yeah.
eye. Or
It was a perfect example of situational awareness.
Yes.
And yeah, I was not being very aware in that moment. I did not see that coming.
Yeah.
Literally.
Oh yeah. Well, that's nine times
Yeah.
out of 10 you don't.
Yeah. Right. Right.
Oh, shoot.
So.
Well, that's unique, man. I mean, you've done a lot. I mean, as a lot of folks I've had on, you've done a lot of different stuff over a short period of time, and not only for my own financial sake, I guess. I wish you the best with NEC and going forward. And
Thanks, man.
with that being said, where can people get in touch with you
Yep.
for the business, or reach out to the business? Where can they find you?
Yep. You can find us online at nicholaselectricalme.com.
Mm-hmm.
That's our website. And you can call us directly at our business line, 207-692-6343. Then you can also see us on Facebook.
Yep.
As well. So if you look up Nicholas Electrical Company on Facebook, we'll come right up, and we're based right out of Winslow.
Yep, yeah. So if anybody needs any electrical services, feel free to give Nicholas Electric a call, obviously, and get you on the phone with Nate, get you scheduled, and hopefully get some service done for folks. Yeah.
Yeah.
So excellent, Nick. Well, thanks for coming on, buddy. I greatly appreciate it. And as I left off last episode, 2022 is a year of reinvention for myself. And I felt it only fitting to have you on to, to kick off, the first episode of 2022.
Yeah,
You
well,
know,
it's
it
an
just
honor.
just fitting, So thanks for coming on, buddy, and I, greatly appreciate it rather, and appreciate all you listening. Thanks for tuning in here. Thanks for keeping us in your earbuds or on your speakers in 2022. So that being said, I'll be back with bi-weekly episodes. The break is over, folks. So get strapped in for all the new DuView goodness. I'll be having a whole new set of guests, a few solo episodes here and there. And so you don't miss anything, feel free to follow us on all of our social media platforms, the DuView Podcast on Facebook and YouTube, and DuView 207 on Instagram. Find us on your favorite podcast platform. We're on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, you name it, we're probably on it. So with that being said, folks, thank you everybody for tuning in. Thanks, Nick, for coming on. And we'll be back in another couple weeks with a brand new episode of the DuView Podcast. Have a great 2022, everybody, and we'll see you in a couple weeks.